Today on Ask This Old House.
I'll help you decide which air compressor is right for you.
So a couple different options here, and there are tons of options. Let's talk about how to pick the right one. A small one, a big one, on wheels or whatever.
And I'm headed to San Diego to fix a crack in this stucco retaining wall. Don't be afraid of it. Get as deep as you can.
We've been doing some baby proofing projects around the house, but what we really need and emailed you guys about is a washer dryer. We've been doing our laundry at a laundromat for about the last 5 years.
And if you need a new dryer, what's the difference between gas and electric?
For projects around the house, Home Advisor helps find local pros to do the work. You can check ratings, read customer reviews, and book appointments with pros online at homeadvisor.com. Home Advisor is proud to support Ask This Old House.
Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House, where if you've got questions about your house, we'd love to hear from you, because we have got the experts with the answers. Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Can you talk to Mark?
What?
He's supposed to be in San Diego.
Oh, the retaining wall story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be all right, but you sure? I'll talk to him. If it makes you feel better, I'll talk to him, okay? Hey, Tommy. Hey, Mark. How you guys doing?
Hey, how are you, Kevin?
Tommy, what are you working on today?
We're going to talk about compressors and how to choose the right one.
Yeah, nice. I'm up for that. And Mark, you're San Diego retaining wall, right?
I am. I'm on my way, yep.
Apparently you're not on your way fast enough for
Well,
somebody.
we're talking walls here.
We got important
I
stuff
mean,
to talk about.
I just don't get it. I mean, San Diego's 3,000 miles away. There's only a half-hour show. How's he going to get there and get back in time to be at the end of the show?
You know I can do it.
You're unbelievable. I'm out of here. That's it.
Mark, help a guy out.
I gotta go, yeah. All right, we'll pick that up, Tony. Andrew.
Hey Mark, welcome to San Diego.
All right, thanks for having me. It's great out here. So I heard you had a situation through your email.
Yeah, so we've been here about a year and we have this big gnarly crack along the side.
Wow, okay, look at that. All right, so poured concrete retaining wall, which is always good. You have the stucco veneer on top of that, which gives you a little aesthetic value to it. But these cracks, sometimes, I don't want to call them typical, but they happen. Settlement is a big issue. If we were in a colder climate, we get the freeze thaw, which isn't going to be the situation out here. But the other thing is landscape, trees, and mostly the tree roots. So we got a pretty big palm tree right here. Big trees mean big roots, which would lead to this crack that we have right here. So I'm assuming you want to keep the tree.
Yeah, we want to keep those.
Right, right. In a perfect world, we would take it out and eliminate the cause of this problem altogether, but that's not very practical in this situation, so I think we're just going to fix the crack.
Killer, let's get
All right,
started.
let's go. All right, so what we've decided to use to fix the crack is what we call a Type S mortar.
Why not use concrete to fix a concrete wall?
Great question. You would think that the compatibility between concrete and concrete would be great, right? But the concrete has aggregate in it, and that's going to be way too big to get into those cracks. So that's why we're going to stick with the Type S mortar. Type S mortar has Portland cement, which gives it its strength, and it's got the lime in there, which is also going to give us a little movement. Don't forget, we haven't taken care of the cause. So the cause is going to continue, and it's going to keep applying pressure onto the wall, you know, so 5-10 years down the road, you may see this crack again. If you do, not too bad, because you're going to know how to fix it.
Very cool.
Yep, so let's get going.
Let's do it.
All right. So Andrew, why don't you just get started digging up the back side of the wall. That way we'll see the entire crack that we need to fill. Be careful around that irrigation line. You may just want to switch to a smaller tool like that digging spade. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is mark out this crack so we can expand it. So just make sure when you're cutting, you cut to that edge. That'll widen that crack, and that way we'll be able to fit the material in a sizable amount, which is going to give it its strengths. But when you use the chisel, see that? That's the cut edge. So just drive it into your mark, let the hammer do the work, and then once you've established a mark, go nuts with the hammer. Yep, don't be afraid of it.
So why are we making this crack bigger?
Well, you can see that it's about 1/4 of an inch right now. If we put 1/4 of an inch in material, it's not going to be as strong as, say, what we've opened it up to, 1/2 inch or more. All right, that's it. Don't be afraid of it. Get as deep as you can. Yep, that's it. Nice. That's it. Clean it out as you go. We're using a cold chisel because it's a piece of forged steel, which is actually stronger than the concrete mix. So every time you hit that, especially in that V with that cutting edge, that's going to snap the concrete exactly where we want.
Should I go after this high spot here?
Definitely go after that high spot. You can see how it kind of jumps into our work. If you take that out, you're going to allow for the material to flow all the way down to the bottom of the crack. Yep, wiggle that out. So don't be afraid to take, more out if it comes. I want to keep cleaning as I go, just because I don't want anything to impede the flow of our new material going down to the bottom of the crack. All right, Andrew, nice. Look at how clean we are through there. And now we want to clean out the crack using the hose. I want to mix this mortar a little wetter than usual because we're going to start at the top and try to let it run down all the way to the bottom of the crack. Now that the mortar's ready to go, you're going to get a margin trowel and you're going to start at the top and dump it in. As it comes down, I'm going to use my tuck pointer and I'm going to force it into the bottom and into the sides. Okay, so you see the finished trowel on the backside?
Yep.
That's actually acting as a form. So the more pressure I apply as I'm pushing in, it's going to be backed up by this trowel. That way it won't flow out. All right, what do we have left,
Half
Andrew?
a scoop left.
Half a scoop, I'll take it right here. All right, so let's take a look at this wall. As you can see, this is the same that we have out on the retaining wall, and this is what we want to mimic. So most people think that stucco is a material. It's really not, it's a technique. So what we want to do is try to mimic this as close as possible. So when they were doing this, I think what they did was put the wire lath on first. That grabs the stucco, so it's going to stay on the wall. But what they did is they kind of stepped back, randomly threw it onto the wall, and they either took a big screed or a big trowel, but they took something and dragged it all the way down. And that's why we have flat indentations. Flat indentations, it rotates. That look is great for a mass like this, a big wall like this, but we're doing a patch, so we're gonna have to try to figure it out on our own, basically using the same techniques, but on a smaller scale.
Great.
All right, let's give it a try. So now this is gonna be the same type S mortar that we used, it's just gonna be a little bit drier this time. So I'm just gonna scoop it up, ride it in to the crack, all the way up. So now you can see those high and the low spots that we just looked at. So now all I want to do is just try to roll this trowel, see if I can spread the new mortar side to side so it blends in. And a little bit more. I want to use some pressure so it flows into each side of the wall. All right, so now we're ready for the wet brush. And the wet brush is going to bring out the aggregate that we saw on the main wall, just like that. I'm going to let that set up for a minute. All right, so what we've done is we've let this set up for about 5 minutes, which is going to give us some great pliability. Most people would think this crack is all fixed and ready to go, but we're going to take a little bit of an artistic license and we're going to start grinding out some of the edges just so they flow into the side better. All right, Andrew, so we're all set. We've done everything we could with this crack. We matched the materials, we matched the technique, but I do have one more thing for you to do. So that mortar is not going to set up for a couple weeks, so what I need you to do is take this chip, go down to the home center, have them match that with a masonry stain. I'd paint the whole wall, and then you're going to find out that that crack goes away completely.
Great. We're super stoked. Thanks for coming out to San Diego.
All right, well, thanks for having me. Bye, Andrew.
Tommy, we are talking air tools and compressors, two things you've got a long history with.
Long history. We've been using air tools for a long time. Way back when, we had a big compressor in one of the trucks, and we had a big tank in it, and we used to run one line in the house and then branch off that and run all of our air tools, sanders, air screwdrivers, to chisels, to sprayers.
Really?
Everything was air.
Yeah, well, those days are gone because we've got a lot of batteries on the job site, but not completely gone. We still have things that we need the air gun for.
Yeah.
The compressor, how's it work, basically?
Well, a compressor actually works. It pulls air and forces it under pressure into an air tank.
Little engine right here doing that.
Right.
Intake is right here, looks like.
Exactly. So when the compressor fills up, this gauge right here will tell me how much this compressor will bring in. It might pull up 110 pounds of pressure, all right? And this one may do the same thing. But I want to be able to control the air that's going out to the tool that I'm going to use. So this valve right here, I will turn and adjust that valve till it gets to the required amount of pounds per square inch.
And a lot of tools have actually got it listed right on there, what they want you to fire it at, 90 PSI, 100 PSI, and such.
Right, and this one might be 40 or 45 pounds
Gotcha.
PSI.
Okay, maintenance on these things, generally speaking?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's probably going to be an air filter that takes the air that's coming in, so that there's dust in the air. You want to make sure you keep that clean.
Yep.
The other thing, some of these have a belt on them, and some of them you need to change the oil on them. So you want to keep your eye on that, and if it needs to be changed, change the oil or repair the belt.
And they can build up water, because we know that anytime that we compress air, we'll actually push the water, squeeze the water out of it, and that can accumulate on the bottom of the tank.
It can, and even in the summertime, when it's humid out, you even get more air in it, and it's very important. A lot of people don't know this, but every single day you want to open this valve with air in the tank and let it just drain out to dry the tank.
You won't get rust in the tank. You won't even get any of the air into your tools, which would be a big no.
Right, the water that's in the tank will come out under pressure, and if you're spraying, you'll actually get water added to your paint, and that could be bad.
So a couple different options here, and there are tons of options, big and small. Let's talk about what a homeowner should be thinking about in terms of buying one, what they choose.
Well, if you're a homeowner and you know, or even a contractor, and you're just going to do small work, like a finish work, all the time, you're going to need a small gun, then you can take this little lightweight compressor right here and go around room to room and do all your trim work. It's going to be fine.
So that one is rated at 1 gallon, size of the tank. It can shoot 135 max PSI. This number right here, 0.7 SCFM at 90 PSI, what is that?
That's the standard cubic feet per minute that this compressor can keep up with.
So if I wanted to shoot at 90 PSI or use a tool at 90 PSI, it can run at 0.7 cubic feet per minute and keep that going continuously.
Right, and it could run this gun because this gun has a very little reservoir in it, very little tank. When you fire, it's one burst, boom, and that's going to come back. Boom.
But a tool like this, which is a sander, maybe a mechanic uses this, this one's going to be going constantly.
It's going to require a lot of cubic feet of air per minute.
So we're out of that tank and we're into this one. His is an 8-gallon tank. Again, that's the size, but here's two numbers. 4.8 SCFM at 40 PSI?
40 PSI, 40 pounds per square inch. So that sander will run at 40 pounds per square inch, like this spray gun right here.
If it's rated for 4.8.
If it's rated for that.
But if we went up to 90 PSI, more pressure, it's going to drop down this volume to 3.7.
Right. Compressor's too small.
Gotcha.
So you want to size it right for the tool.
Okay, good information. I appreciate it. Did you miss the old days?
Once in a while, but I still like the battery tools now.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey.
What a great spot you've got here.
Thanks.
How long have you been here?
We've been here for about 5 years, but we have some changes coming soon. I'm expecting a baby in about 6 weeks.
Oh, I wasn't even going to mention it. Congratulations, you
Thank
guys.
you.
That's great.
Thanks.
Exciting.
We've been doing some baby proofing projects around the house, but what we really need and emailed you guys about is a washer dryer. We've been doing our laundry at a laundromat for about the last 5 years,
You
and
can't
that's
do that with baby.
not going to
gonna
work much longer.
So has this house ever had a laundry in it?
We have a washer hookup in the basement. We just installed a washer, but we need the other half, the
All
dryer.
right, good. Let's see what you got. Let me check it out.
Awesome.
Okay.
We'll head down to the basement. I'll show you the
I'll
way.
catch you in a little bit.
Thanks.
Okay, here we are.
The basement.
The basement. And here's the washer I mentioned.
Perfect. You're halfway there.
Almost home.
All right. So you got hot and cold. You got a standpipe here. Normally we'd love to have the dryer right next to it, but we've got to think about venting it, so we always think about the outside wall. Looks like you got electrical outlets here, but this is only 110 volt, and you need more for a dryer. But we have an open ceiling, so we could actually run wires here. Looks like the panels here, hold on. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm not sure about electricity. So you have a gas pipe here, looks like an old gas pipe here, runs up in the ceiling, runs back, splits two ways. You got 2 wattage, this is a 2-family house.
Yep.
This one runs back to here. Is this you right
That's
here?
ours. Yep.
So this is not our gas line that we can use. So this looks like it right here. So we'd have to run it from here over to there if we're going to do gas here. All right, let's go talk to the boss.
Let's go check in.
Well, we just had a wonderful visit to your basement.
What did you find?
Well, I don't think he's going to have that as a man cave in the future.
It's a little creepy down there.
You know, any dryer is really just a heater that wants to heat the air enough to evaporate the moisture out of the clothes, and it tumbles. And in this country, most of them are electric. It heats the clothes up, tumbles them, takes the humidity out, and it has to either be vented to outside, but some of the new modern ones can be vented into a bucket into the basement, right? Or some of them are so efficient you don't even need a vent. But an electric dryer needs power, and a lot of it. It needs 220 volts, which is double what a light needs, right? And when that thing's on, it needs a ton of what they call amps, you know, a lot of power from the panel. So your panel, what did we check? It was like a 60 amp panel.
Yeah.
A modern house nowadays generally has about a 200 amp panel. So I don't think you have enough power on your panel to be able to put an electric dryer in.
That makes sense. You know, this summer I was having to choose between the air conditioner and the hair dryer.
What'd you go with?
Most often I chose the air conditioner just because it was so hot this summer.
Your hair still looks great. All right, so the other option for you is a gas dryer. We saw a gas pipe there. We chased it back to the meter. You do have a gas line we could use. It works the same way as a heater that extracts the humidity. But with a gas dryer, we've got to be sure on the venting that it vents to outside because it has the temperature, the humidity, and it has the products of combustion that we got to make sure go to outside. So gas dryers are typically more expensive than an electric dryer, but they are much more powerful, you know, which means it can be on for less time than an electric dryer. And depending on your fuel cost, it can actually be more efficient. So it could actually be cheaper to run over the long run.
Awesome.
All right?
Great.
And we can get started today if you can help me.
I can help.
All right.
Let's
good.
do it.
We'll see it.
Thanks.
All right, let's just slide this in. Set it down. Just tip it to you. Here is your new gas dryer.
Awesome.
In the back, you can see the connections we need to make. Here's a gas connection right here.
Okay.
This is our vent to outside. And here's the 110 volt connection we'll plug in. And that just drives the motor to tumble those clothes.
Awesome.
All right, we should get started by shutting off the gas and start to run the gas
Awesome.
line. All right, just turn off the main gas. So we're going to run our gas piping today in black steel pipe. Okay. Now we could actually cut it in custom lengths from A to B, but that requires a specialty tool that you can cut the threads on site. But it also comes in pre-cut lengths in 1 foot increments. This is 1/2 inch by 48 inches. It comes 2, 3, 4, and 5 foot sections, and they protect the threads right here. So you've got a 6 foot there. Why don't you fish yours up on top? We're going to go up into this bay, run it from this side. Try feed it in. We're going to go up over the piping. Yeah, slide it in carefully. This is another case not to use a long one. You can't get it up above the pipes. Keep going. Push it down. Okay. Right about there. Yeah. You see it right there?
Yeah.
All right. They make all kinds of different fittings. This is a coupling. It's a straight connection with threads on both sides. You can see a thread on both of these pieces of pipe. But I want to put a little pipe dope on first. And that's important. Thread sealant. Go around. This is very important to have a tight seal. And we only put it on the male threads, and that'll make a nice tight seal. So now we'll bring those together. Okay. Get it started. So we take 2 wrenches. We want to tighten righty-tighty. So here we go. Okay. So we just keep doing this until it's good and snug, and both threads are going in at the same time, and that thread sealant fills the gap. Gas piping should always be done by a licensed gas professional. Now I'll bring it down till it's exactly vertical.
Perfect.
Yes?
Yep.
All right, our last piece going down vertically is this one that has a thing at the bottom called a drip cap. And that's a T with a cap at the very bottom. And that's to leave a place for any rust that might develop inside of this steel pipe, and a place that you can clean it out and blow it out. So now we're going to tighten all these up. Before we make our final gas connection, let's run the vent pipe. All right, so here's your termination. It has some louvers that'll drop. The dry vent will open it when it's on and close so birds won't come in. And then we'll tighten it up with a really good clamp. I'm going to have you feed it in. So now we get to the point where you can't spin the dryer and you can't make this pipe move, so we got to introduce either a thing called a union.
Okay.
This would make to the dryer, and this large nut, we could then bring the two together, or we can use a stainless steel flexible connection, and that has the same sort of union connection that we need to bring the two together.
Gotcha.
Okay, there we go. Now, once you stretch that vent, and we got the same clamp as we used outside.
Okay.
Seems secure.
Yeah, nice and level.
Uh-oh.
Wow, this
boss.
looks amazing, guys.
So we ran a new gas line to right here. The vent goes here.
Okay.
We tested for leaks, turned the gas back on, secured the pipes. We are ready to go. Are you going to do the test?
Haven, this guy.
Are you going to do all the laundry? You're going to the
basement,
basement. Oh, a little happy tune.
Nice little
amazing.
song. We're in
This is awesome.
business.
Thank you so
Great.
much, Richard.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with the baby and plenty of clean diapers going
Thank
forward.
you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Richard, I think you got there just in the nick of time.
You're not kidding. They just had a beautiful baby girl yesterday, Isla Madeline.
Oh, that's terrific. Oh, look at that. She is so cute.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is great news. Wait, but they called you first?
Of course, they always call the plumber first.
Okay, I guess. All right, well, keep your questions, your emails, and your birth announcements coming. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Rich Thrui.
For Ask This Old House.
They're sending me cigars.
Are they? The proud plumber.
That's right.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.